Great. Thank you everyone for joining ANC 6E for our May 27, 2026 monthly meeting. And right now it's 6:32 p.m. We are joined by a new ANC commissioner who just got sworn in. Welcome. Would you like to introduce yourself? Since you're new to the commission, anything you would like to share about your background, why you chose public service, and what you're interested in?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Happy to be here. Christina Laridan. I'll have to update my little Zoom screen. I'm in ANC 6E06, and I live on M Street. Heard that there was a vacancy, and was encouraged to help fill it, because I am a joiner and someone who cares about the city and the neighborhood, and especially the streets in my SMD is the MBT, which I'm a frequent user of, and so love those kinds of public services. So, excited to be here and to help out how I can. So yeah, I'll be filling the seat through January, through the end of the term. So yeah,
Great. Welcome. And how do you pronounce your last name?
yeah, it's Laridan, but I get
Larry
all
Den.
kinds of things, so really not a big deal.
Larry Den. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. And welcome
Thank
to
you.
ANC 6E. Let's start by a roll call to make sure that we have quorum. ANC 6E01, I think that um, is able to attend. 6E02, 6E03, Commissioner
Present.
Rogers, 6E04, 6E05 present, 6E06,
Present.
6E07. 6E08,
Present.
and then 6E09.
Present.
Great. So we have a quorum of five commissioner in attendance, and then we have four absent commissioners. Moving to the next item, which is voting on the agenda for today's meeting. Let me pull it up quickly. Share my screen quickly. Oh, I see that Commissioner Fiedler is here. Okay, one second.
Hello, I'm here. Nice to see you. I'll
Nice to
briefly
meet
come
you.
off of video. I'm on a train, but just stop, say hello, see my face.
Great. Thank you for joining us. So just noting for the meeting minutes that Commissioner Fiedler joined at 6:35 p.m. So now we have a quorum of six commissioners. So going back to uh, the agenda to go through it, and then we can vote on it. So we already did item one. We are going to vote on approving the agenda, approval of April minutes, and um, for anyone who was not able to review the minutes, you can abstain. We're going to have an update, the usual updates from Councilmember Allen's office, the mayor's office, if there's an MPD public safety update. We're going to have a presentation on ranked choice voting from Rank the District. Originally, I had discussed getting the Board of Elections to do the presentation, but they could not. So this is just a educational presentation. And then since the June primary is very close, I think we're like almost 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks away. So this is an educational presentation on how to vote using ranked choice voting, since this is going to be the first election in DC with ranked choice voting. Then there's a request for our support by the Mount Vernon Triangle Community Improvement District, SID. So they have an application for the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities for a public art building communities grant. And part of the requirement is presenting on the application for the ANC for our input. And then there's a resolution requesting DDOT to add traffic calming interventions in ANC 6E. We then would vote on the financial report for Q2 for fiscal year 2026. And then we'll have the open forum where commissioners or constituents may raise issues, and then we can have room for ANC response. And then we will conclude the meeting, and the next meeting would be on June 24th, which is the last Wednesday of June. Any comments, additions, questions? Okay. Uh, Not seeing any. I move to vote on approving the agenda for ANC 60 May 27 meeting. Anyone would like to second?
Second.
Okay, so Commissioner Abukalaf moved and Commissioner Laredan seconded a motion to approve the ANC 6E agenda for May 27 meeting. I'll be calling on you to vote 6E03,
Aye.
6E04,
Aye.
I 6E06,
Aye.
6E07, not here, 6E08,
Aye.
and then 6E09.
Aye.
Great. So the motion moves with 6 ayes, 0 nays, and no abstains. Moving to the next item, which is the approval of April minutes. Again, if you could not, especially Commissioner Larita, since you're new, you can abstain. Or if anyone did not get the chance to look at the meeting minutes, you can abstain. We're non-official, non-official secretary, Commissioner Prince, would you like to make a motion to approve the April
Sure.
minute?
Sure. I did have an opportunity to review them, so I
Great,
will move to approve the minutes without change.
great. And I will second. So Commissioner Prince moved, Commissioner Bukalov seconded a motion to approve the April 2026 meeting minutes for ANC 6E. I'll be calling on you to vote 6E03,
Aye.
6E04,
Aye.
I 6E06,
Abstain.
6E08,
Aye.
and then 6E09.
I'm gonna abstain.
Okay, so the motion passes with 4 ayes, 2 abstains, and no nays. Okay, moving to the next item. I see John from Councilmember Allen's office for her update. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, good evening, everybody.
You did.
I want to welcome Commissioner Lairden to the commission. My name is Jean. You and I will hopefully work closely together on anything that you want help with. and vice versa. Okay, so I have a couple of updates. One is, of course, the budget. I did send 6E commissioners the budget slide deck that we did for the budget town hall a couple of weeks ago. I know that Commissioner Hans was there, and I'm hoping that will help review the process, but also some of the major priorities for this round, for this year's budget. Um, in general, the council has concluded all the public hearings and committee votes for the proposed budget of all DC government agencies. Each committee was able to make some changes, but the council was in an all-day work session today, starting to wrestle with some major decisions still to come. This is where you'll see most of the debate around controversial cuts to childcare, paid family leave, housing vouchers, healthcare, and more. Most of those items' costs are much larger than can be restored within the committees. I want to note Councilmember Allen's made clear one of his top priorities is to restore the pay equity fund. Um, this is basically what creates a thriving healthcare industry and keeps good jobs alive, but also better health, better childcare because those folks stay, and it ensures families can afford to stay here in DC. So I will say, notably for this ANC, the budget includes funding to build a dog park in Mount Vernon Triangle neighborhood and funding for a feasibility study on how to redevelop the parking garage at Second and K to better connect Cobb Park with that neighborhood. Um, in other news, the Committee on Transportation and the Environment, Councilmember Allen restored some of the cuts to the Sustainable Energy Trust Fund, which should be $100 million annual fund meant to help DC residents lower their bills through a wide range of tools, including DC Solar for All program that helps cover the cost to build solar in low and moderate income communities, rebates for upgrading to energy efficient appliances, and gas to electric swaps. So if you have a gas stove, switching to electric, better for the environment, and there's a subsidy to do so, as well as even connections. All of these investments lower people's bills for the long term. Councilmember Allen will be working with colleagues to identify additional funds. While it should be $100 million, the mayor takes $80 million a year and uses it to pay the city's power bill instead, unfortunately. Notably, the budget includes money for WMATA's Gold Line, which will connect RFK campus east-west, starting from Union Station to Benning Road. But the aim is to take it all the way across the city. Um, we do have a much longer list on our website that I have time here, so I have a link to share that I can put in the chat if somebody can repost it. Another bill of note is the Common Area Utility Fees Bill. That's big for Mount Vernon Triangle, I think. This legislation bans the practice of common area utility fees, which is when a building tacks on hundreds of dollars in fees on top of the agreed upon rent. In other words, for the common air conditioning, things that you didn't know you were signing up to pay. The belief is for us that the renters rightly expect the cost of hallway lights, AC, and the common area are included in the rent, not one more thing to be price gouged. The bill has a second vote before the council next month. It did pass unanimously in the first vote. So that's the news there. We do have a new crosswalk alert. Thank you, Mount Vernon Triangle Sid. Thank you, DDOT, and neighbors for advocating for years for this crosswalk. We do celebrate the big and small wins in Councilmember Allen's office and our team. We are thrilled DDOT has installed a crosswalk for the 3rd and H Street Northwest to meet the foot traffic demand for our beautiful new park, Cobb Park. We've definitely been pushing on this for a long time with residents, and I'm glad that finally DDOT got it done. One more note about juvenile curfew. The council passed permanent legislation creating a time and geographically limited curfew tool for MPD including with a provision requiring places where young people can go, even as we take necessary steps to end off large disruptive gatherings. With these changes, Councilmember Allen has voted to pass that change several times as it struck the right balance. In other words, if you're going to ban kids from being out or gathering in large spaces, give them something else to do. The council continues to debate emergency legislation on this issue, where the votes have not been there for a higher threshold required. Councilmember Allen was prepared to vote to pass the emergency, but there were not enough council members on the same page to hit the 9 vote threshold, so it was withdrawn. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you for the update. I'm not sure if I missed it. Are there any updates on fully funding the STEER Act?
The STEER Act. I don't think so. I think a lot of the STEER Act has been funded,
Has
but
been
I am
funded.
happy to, yeah, I'm happy to get back to you on um, a more broken down, response to that.
Yeah, that would be great. I'm a big fan of this bill and holding dangerous drivers accountable. And my understanding, it was like funded, but not full. There are like certain parts maybe not fully funded, but I could be wrong. But yeah, further
I do know the
information.
OAG has been after several dangerous drivers now that they have that tool. That's why I say it's certainly funded to some degree because
Yeah,
that is happening.
that is great. Commissioner Hans?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you all so much for the funding for the dog park. I really appreciate all the work that your office put into it. So
And
just
you.
thank you.
Yep. Commissioners, any questions or comments you would like to raise for John?
I don't have any
Uh,
questions, but thanks to
yeah,
the council member for his leadership. I've been happy with all those changes.
I
Yeah,
will
thanks for the
share
update.
that. Thanks.
Thank you for the updates. And we'll certainly be interested in hearing more, especially about the Noah pedestrian tunnel and the Gold Line. Because as I was collecting signatures, had a lot of people asking and talking about those
Okay.
things.
great. Constituents who are with us, any comments or questions for Councilmember Allen's office? Not
I will
seeing any.
continue to say that if there is a building in your SMD that you want Councilmember Allen to come and visit and share thoughts with neighbors about budget or neighborhood issues or even building wide issues, I'm happy to coordinate that and get him there on a time and date that's convenient for the residents in that building. Happy to do that. So just putting that out there as well.
I I definitely know we have at least a couple of buildings, so we can coordinate with you offline for sure. Great.
And I should
Thank you.
note if there are any people who are desperate to get in front of Councilmember Allen to express or ask for anything, to Friday morning we will be in Southwest for our community office hours. It's called Good Company on the corner, basically of Fourth and I Southwest, from 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. And we'll have staff there as well to help out. But basically, it's an informal way for members of the community to have FaceTime with Councilmember Allen without an appointment.
Yeah, I actually see that there's someone who wants to ask a question. Um, is it Pania? Go ahead and ask your question or raise your comment.
Hi,
Hi.
everyone. Uh, I'm not sure, but you came to the Savannah to talk to the residents in Plaza West. And I was
Yes.
wondering, yes, you did. When were you coming back? Because some of the residents has been asking me, and yeah, we have continuous stuff going on all the time here.
Okay, let's do it. I will call Commissioner Rogers tomorrow And then if you want to give uh, me a call, I will put my phone number in the chat and my email so that we can get that on the fast track.
Okay. If you, I don't know if you want this, but I can get more tenants to show up if you come to here, because it's a lot of stuff in this building you need to see.
Yes, we'd be happy to.
Okay, I'll look forward to your visit and I'll get your number, okay?
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
You.
Sure.
Great. Consensual's last call for questions or comments. You can print type in the Q&A box or use the raise hand option. Okay. I included the link to the slides that you shared, John, and I in the chat box. And then if you give me your contact information, I will just paste them again in the chat box so everyone can see them.
Oh man, come back, Roger. I have a question for Joan. I got informed. I got in touch with DDOT, which I haven't got no response. Right, the Plaza West got some crumbling sidewalk. It's on the front of the place, and somebody tripped and fell yesterday and hurt themselves. I'd like to know when they're gonna fix that area because it's real bad.
This is in front of 307?
Yeah, in front of 307.
Okay. Let's you and I talk in the morning so that
Okay,
we can do it. I can see where you are, you can see where I am.
okay.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much for your time and for doing this presentation. And we will follow up on the issues raised offline. Thank you. Have a good night. Okay. Moving to the next item, which is an update from the mayor's office. Trey, thank you for joining us.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our new commission.
Oh, I don't think we can hear you very well.
Is this any better? This
Yeah.
is a weak microphone. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our new commissioner. Excited to work with you. Um, just a few updates from the mayor's office side. John spoke to the curfew, so I'll get to the other new things that we have. Um, so Chancellor Louis Farabee is departing DCPS after his 8-year tenure. Chancellor Louis Farabee recently announced that he'll be departing from DC Public Schools at the end of the 25-26 school year. Farabee led DCPS through the pandemic, and he's leaving at a time of historic increases in student performance. The mayor will appoint an interim chancellor, and the next mayor's administration will appoint a permanent chancellor as replacement. Mayor Bowser also announced the DCPS after-school registration for the 26-27 school year is opened, and registration is opened for after-school programs currently through the My Out of School Time DC portal. You can reach that at most.dc.gov, so please feel free to signal boost that amongst your channels. We also wanted to speak to changes coming to SNAP benefits. Starting on June 1st, due to changes in federal law, the Department of Human Services will begin screening customers whenever they apply or recertify for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program benefits to determine if they need to meet new work requirements. The work requirements apply to SNAP customers who meet the definition of able-bodied adults without dependents and do not qualify for exemption from work requirements. People who are subject to the work requirements and do not meet them will only be able to receive SNAP for 3 months in a 36-month period. And then finally, the Mayor's Office of Caribbean Cultural Affairs, also known as MOCA, will officially kick off Caribbean American Heritage Month with its third annual Caribbean flag ceremony on May 30th. This event celebrates the rich culture, history, and contributions of the Caribbean community in DC, while highlighting unity and cultural pride across the district. The program will feature the unveiling of the 2026 DCPS Caribbean Heritage Flag Contest winner, remarks from Caribbean community leaders and officials, and the announcement of upcoming Caribbean American Heritage Month events and celebrations. This is going to take place on Saturday the 30th, starting at 1 p.m., and it's going to be at 899 North Capitol Street Northeast. If you're interested in attending or sharing this with anyone who might be interested, I will drop a link for that RSVP, just so they have an accurate head count. They're not turning anyone away. And I'll put it in the chat so you all can share with attendees. There. But happy to take any questions that commissioners or attendees may have.
Great, thank you. Do you mind giving a quick recap of the latest updates on the youth curfew, where it stands right now, and what are the latest changes?
So one of the biggest stipulations that came with this new legislation is that the curfew now applies to 17-year-olds. That is newly active within the Emergency Powers Declaration. That was not previously the case. There's a limited window. So let me just double check my notes here. This emergency is going to be in effect through Saturday, June 6th. And the specific verbiage stipulates that the chief of police is authorized to declare a juvenile curfew zone upon his finding that a group of at least 9 youth is imminently scheduled to gather or has gathered, and the safety of the youth, residents, or the public is endangered. Juvenile curfew zones prohibit youth under 18 years old to gather in groups of 9 or more beginning at 8 p.m. And the district has used the expanded juvenile curfew authorities in a limited and targeted manner as part of a broader strategy to engage youth and prevent crime and disorder. Now, alongside this push, the executive office is thinking very creatively about ways that we can work across agencies to bolster. Oh, let me grab you a new link. To bolster our efforts for youth engagement aside from DPR programming. That's something that we're working on right now. But this is not just a rules change. We're attempting to look at this holistically.
Got it. Thank you for the update. Commissioners, any questions or comments for Trey?
Commissioner Rogers, I have a question. Is this contains the curfew at 8 o'clock all over the city or just in certain hotspots? Because I
This
noticed that they haven't put it out there yet.
this would be in specific spots at the discretion of MPD. So if say for instance, uh, you or I were to come across a notification that what are being referred to as youth takeovers are being promoted for this upcoming Saturday. If that information is shared with the police with the police district, they're able to designate a zone where this would be enacted.
Okay, thank you.
There's a question in the chat about the timeline for the latest youth curfew. Will it be in effect through the end of the summer?
So
What is
this emergency order is only through Saturday, June 6th.
okay? And then the council would have to reconsider if it will be extended. Okay.
Correct.
So only through June 6th, you said?
Yes, this ends on Saturday, June 6th.
Commissioners, any questions, comments for Trey or constituents who are with us? If you have any comments or questions, you can type them in the Q&A box or use the raise hand option. Okay. Not seeing any. Thank you so much for joining us and for the updates, and we will stay in touch with you. Thank you. Okay. Moving to the next item, public safety update from MPD. Thank you for joining us. We're ready for your update whenever you're ready.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lieutenant
Good
Ursula
evening.
Tip. I am the PSA lieutenant for PSA 101 ANC 6E. And the update for ANC 6E experienced an overall reduction in crime with the total offense down by 8 incidents compared to the same time period last year. Within PSA 101, an overall reduction in crime, that being 9 thefts, 2 assaults. One of those ADWs was a case closed at the Crosby apartment and 1 motor vehicle theft. Uh, we will continue to remain our posture. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me.
Commissioners, any questions, comments for MPD? Or constituents who are with us, if you have any comments or questions. Let's see.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. This is Lieutenant Archer here. I just wanted to give a brief overview of what we got going on in PSA 102. We're still looking pretty good. We're trending in the right direction with June coming up pretty soon. And we're looking at a overall 27% down year to date in overall crime. Since the last time we met, we had 3 additional um, um, violent incidents that occurred. That's going to be 2 robberies and 1 ADW. The ADWs are going to be domestic in nature, and the robbery was closed. It was a juvenile robbery related to an incident that occurred down in Chinatown, and officers were able to get in the area and quickly make an arrest. Um, I'm so glad that everyone kind of went over where we are right now with the curfew. I think we're all kind of well versed in what this new posture is. But yes, we have a curfew down, a curfew zone down in Navy Yard as well as the wharf right now. And depending upon if we get some additional intel that's kicking off in the community, the chief has the autonomy to kind of pivot to a different area. But if anyone has any questions, I'm here to answer.
Great, thank you for the update.
Okay.
Commissioners, oh, go ahead. Commissioners, constituents, any questions or comments for MPD? Not seeing any. Thank you for joining us and for your updates, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you. So moving to the next item, we're a little bit ahead of our schedule, but see if Ashley Chapin is ready for the presentation. We can go ahead if that's okay.
Hi.
Hi, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
This
No
is
problem.
very timely. If you're able to share your slides, that works too.
Yes, I'll go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I think what we would do if you can give the presentation and then we'll have room for questions and answers if that works for you.
Yes, of course, of course.
Great.
Here, let me just make sure I'm on the right slide here. Oops, 1 second. Okay. And now make sure I'm doing the slide show mode. Is everyone seeing my screen properly?
Yes, we can see it now.
Okay, great. Well, thank you guys again so much, and C6E, for inviting us here. I am Ashley Chapin. I'm volunteer coordinator with Rank the District. We are one of the leading organizations doing ranked choice voting education in DC, ahead of our first very exciting ranked choice voting election. And here I'm just going to give you guys a little rundown of how it all works so everyone feels prepared and can educate their community about what they're going to do when they go to the ballot box and how to do it properly. So just a little overview. How did we get here? We are here because in 2024, Initiative 83 was put on the ballot by, first collecting signatures from 5% of DC voters to just get on the ballot. And then in November of 2024, DC voters voted overwhelmingly in support of the measure with 73% of the vote, supermajority in all 8 wards and all of that good stuff. And then in the next year, 2025, the DC Council funded the ranked choice voting portion of Initiative 83. I'll mention that the other portion of 83, which was letting independents vote in the primaries, still has not been funded by the DC Council. So this year, with our nonprofit C3 organization, Rank the Districts, we are solely focusing on just doing the ranked choice voting education to make sure everyone's prepared to vote in this new way. So why did people vote for Initiative 83 for ranked choice voting? Well, there's a couple of important values what ranked choice voting brings to the table. First and foremost, more choices is pretty obvious. You can now vote for more people on your ballot, so you have more choices on which candidates you want to give support to. It's a structure that allows you not to have to worry about voting for the lesser of 2 evils or splitting the vote as you have done in the past. Another thing about RCV, we tend to see more positive campaigning, and we are seeing that now with some of the campaigns with some of the candidates that are running in RCV elections now. Some candidates, instead of tearing each other down, will build each other up, build coalitions and cross-endorse each other because now candidates have to campaign to more people and ask voters, if I'm not going to be your first choice, can I be your second choice or your third choice? And then finally, with RCV, candidates have to win with majority support. So in RCV, a winner has to get more than 50% of the vote, which means it's easier to vote out on popular politicians and make sure that everyone that wins is actually voted in by the majority of voters. So with all of that out of the way, I'm going to get straight into how does it work? And I'm sure this crowd is very well educated on, what does it look like to rank? But I want to give you just like some tips on if you're talking to someone and they've never heard of this before, this is the pitch that we give to literally everyone in the district, and it has resonated really, really well with people. So when they ask, how do I rank my ballot? First, we tell them, well, what you need to know in a ranked choice voting election, a candidate has to get over 50% of the vote to win. And so how do we get to that point? First, you're going to vote for your favorite candidate on the first column here. And then you also have the option to rank any backup choices that you may have in the second, third, fourth, and fifth column. But that's only if you want to. You can just rank one if that's all you like, but you have the option to rank up to 5 candidates if you would like to. So then what happens is your vote will stay with your first choice, but if they lose or come in last place, your vote will then move to your next choice. And this process repeats until a candidate wins with over 50% of the vote. And so this resonates with people because it's a cool thing. Now you get to see, if I have a favorite candidate that maybe isn't as likely to win, or even if I just have more than one choice, now my vote can go farther, even if my favorite candidate doesn't end up winning with 50%. So what not to do? This is really the most important part of what we are trying to educate people in DC about, because every jurisdiction that implements ranked choice voting has the choice of what are the rules in terms of what ballot errors are going to be allowed and how they're going to treat those errors. So I'm going to give you the real quick rundown, what I give to everybody, just so you know if you're going to educate someone, what maybe you might want to say to them. And then I'm going to go into more detail. So what I say, here's what not to do. Don't put multiple markings in the same column or in the same row, and don't skip. What you want to do is just make sure that every single marking on your ballot is in its own column and row, and you don't have to rank everyone, but just make sure they're done in order and you're good to go. And I'll put the little caveat, remember to only rank a candidate if you support them. Don't rank someone at all if you wouldn't be happy with them winning in that election. So I said that was the quick and dirty and quick and easy thing for people to understand if you have 30 seconds to speak to them. But I'm gonna give you guys all of the details on what the rules really are so that you're educated and you can share these rules with anyone who asks in your ANC. So the biggest no-no on your ballot, please do not overvote. This ballot error is marking multiple candidates in the same column. This is the one that we really, really want to share that people should not do. So the problem with it is that whenever the ballot reader gets to a column that has multiple candidates marked in it, that ballot reader cannot determine who that voter meant to put in that ballot or in that column. So I'm going to give you an example here. Imagine you're ranking your favorite DC sports teams. This is one of our many example ballots that we use to show that you can rank anything. We have food, we have, Motown artists, and then sometimes we show rank your favorite DC sports teams. So imagine someone had put this ballot together. They like the Mystics the best for sure. And then they like the Spirit second best, but then they couldn't decide between the Wizards and Commanders for number 3. So they decide to put them both on number 3. Well, what's going to happen, this is an overvote because there's 2 markings in the same column. So when this happens, everything at the overvote and after it will be eliminated. So that's important to note because you're going to lose the votes that you put in this column where the overvote is and everything after it because the ballot reader could not determine who you meant to put at that ranking. But one thing that is good to know is that if you had properly marked candidates before that overvote happens, then those votes are safe. And another important thing to note is that this does not invalidate your entire ballot. Sometimes voters will ask, what can I do that will get my entire ballot thrown out? There is not one single error that you can make that will throw out your whole ballot. But I will say if you did overvote, say on the first column of a race, unfortunately, by the rules, all of the rankings that you put in that race would then be eliminated, but just for that race, not for the whole ballot. I'll take questions at the end, I guess. The next error that you could do, repeated ranking. So putting, for one candidate, ranking them multiple times in multiple different columns. So this is not nearly as bad because it won't result in any votes being eliminated. It's not as big of a deal, but it's not useful. So here's what a ballot might look like, and here's why. Someone might put their multiple votes for the same candidate. Say they really, really, really feel very strongly for their favorite candidate, and they're like, well, if my vote's going to move somewhere else, I just want it to move back to my favorite candidate. So they put, a marking for that candidate multiple times with the intention of the vote keep coming back to that same candidate. That is not how ranked choice voting works. Once your candidate is eliminated, your vote cannot go back to that same candidate. It has to move on to another candidate that is still in the race. So in this case, the second and third markings of this candidate, the Mystics, would not be, they would not be lost, but simply it would just be cut out and everything behind it would be moved up, if that makes sense. So it would be just as if you hadn't repeated that ranking at all. So that's what I mean by it's not a big deal if someone does this because it won't throw out any other votes. It's just not a useful thing. And it's good for folks to know what the actual utility is of when they're marking on their ballot. What does it mean? So the last error we'll talk about is skipping. And this is a tricky one. So skipping means that, you've marked someone in one column, you've skipped entirely over another column, and you've put another marking in the column after that. That's what a skip means. So skipping one column, let's start with the skipping one column situation. The DC, Board of Elections, and I think from the statute written about Initiative 83 had written the rules of how to handle skipping before it even passed. So, we are locked in with the statute on how these skips are handled. And the decision was that one skip would be allowed. And so this example here, maybe someone really likes the Mystics, but they can't decide on a second choice, and they're like, okay, I feel iffy about the Wizards and the Commanders, so I'll just skip the second choice, and I'll go to 3 and 4. So if someone does this, it's the same thing as when you're repeating rankings. Um, it's not going to eliminate anything of your actual votes. It's just going to move everything up. It's as if you didn't skip at all. So, it's okay if you skip one column. But if you skip 2 consecutive columns, everything after the double skip will be eliminated, similarly to the overvote. And so the rationale on why that rule was implemented or written in the statute, there are different ways to handle like interpreting what a voter means by their markings on their ballot. And something that sometimes happens is that a voter will feel strongly about their maybe 1 or 2 favorite candidates, and then they'll feel very, very negatively about another candidate, and they'll put them on their last row, thinking that that is a negative ranking for that candidate. And that is not how ranked choice voting works. As I said, you can only give positive rankings to a candidate. So in an attempt to interpret what someone might mean by more than or 2 skips or more, sometimes the rule is set to just eliminate everything after the 2 skips so that you're not accidentally giving a vote to someone that you really didn't want to vote for. Again, as with the overvote, everything that happened before the double skip is safe. And again, this does not invalidate your whole ballot, just anything that was after the double skip. So this is also important to note that, if someone felt iffy about a contest and they didn't really feel strong about any one candidate and they decided to start ranking on number 3, then their entire race would be, all of their votes in that race would be eliminated because they had done a double skip at the very start. So these are a couple of the things that, are the nuances of how those votes would be treated and why it's important for us to, be at the polls and be educating folks to know exactly what the rules are. I'll reiterate, the perfect way to do it is to make sure all of your choices are in its own column and its own row. And again, you don't have to rank all 5 options, but as long as the rankings you have are in order, then it's all good. And I'm going to go ahead and go through what tabulation looks like just to cover bases in case anyone has never seen this before. So this is how ranked choice voting effectively comes out with the winner. Once all of the votes are collected and read, they'll start by looking at everyone's first round choices. And so first, what they're going to do is check if any of the candidates have reached 50% of the vote. And that's what this line here, it denotes 50% of all of the votes that were cast. And so in this race, no one has reached 50%. So what happens is we are trying to redistribute votes to see if anyone will cross 50%. And by doing that, what we'll do is eliminate the last place candidate first. So that would be the Nationals in this case. They got the lowest score in the first round. So what happens is when the Nationals are eliminated, everyone who had voted for them as their first choice will have their votes redistributed to their second choice candidates. So one of those people had the Capitals as their second choice, 3 of those people had the Mystics as their second choice, and 1 had the Commanders as their second choice. So those votes got redistributed. Now we're on round 2, and we check again. Do any of the candidates reach 50%? And still no one has. So we do that process again. We now eliminate the new last place candidate, which is the Capitals, and they have their votes redistributed again to their next choice candidate. So, a couple for the Wizards, couple for the Mystics, and some for the Commanders. And on round 3, yet again, we see that no one has reached 50%. So we'll do this round one more time. And in that last round, the Commanders ended up going over the 50% line to win with a majority of the votes. And you might think like, okay, they were going to win in the first place. What's the point? This is a process that, yes, a lot of the times won't actually change the outcome of the election, and that's actually a good thing. We want people to feel like this is not going to upend every single election that will ever happen in DC. But it is a system that you'll be able to prove to yourself that this candidate won with majority support And importantly, sometimes it will result in candidates coming from behind to overtake a front runner who actually wasn't as popular as everyone thought. So it is a process that is a better consensus builder, and gives more chances to more of the candidates to actually see if they have more support than a plurality system would allow them to win with. So I think that's pretty much all I have for this demonstration. Can I answer any questions for you guys?
Thank you so much. This was really helpful. Let's start with commissioners. Commissioner Prince, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, great presentation. Thank you for that. Two questions. One is, would you happen to know if the Board of Elections is going to release all of the round results so we can see how it went step by step? And then, in terms of what is the impact, if any, of only voting for one candidate, just a first rank? Maybe you didn't like the others. It's not really a vote against, certainly not a vote for. Is it sort of like an abstention? How does that play out? If you can comment. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Board of Elections will ultimately release all of the round data. It will take, I think, time. I'm not sure if they've given exactly the timeline on which they will update the results after the election. I mean, this is every year they have to wait for like all of the overseas ballots and all of the mail-in ballots to actually come in before they certify the results. So that's not new. But I think there has been a question of like, from just the ballots that they have counted on election day, on election night, how long is it going to take for them to, one, update that data? You know, how many days after is it going to take? And I think they were hovering around 5 days. Um, don't hold me to that number. I think that number has shifted since I've been paying attention to that. But I think what they've decided is they won't release anything except for the first round of data until they have all of the ballots in and counted. And that's a decision that they've made to lessen the confusion on, you know, who could be the front runner if they don't have all the ballots in. And they want to start doing rounds, um, you know, the results could change when more ballots come in. So they've made the decision not to release rounds until everything has been in. I'm pretty sure that's the answer, but I can get back to you if with a more firm answer, just in case I'm not up to date on that exact protocol. Now, in terms of ranking just one person, we absolutely are accepting of people who want to just rank one person. It's a personal choice for every person who votes. And there are plenty of people in the city who, you know, some people who were not comfortable with ranked choice voting passing in the first place. They've told us directly they don't plan to rank more than one. And that is a person's choice. It won't, you know, all it does is that person's vote stops with that one candidate. It doesn't negatively affect any other candidates. It just means that their ballot might become exhausted before the end of the race. And what that means is essentially if they voted for someone who doesn't end up winning, then they didn't have any backup choices for their vote to continue, you know, expressing their preference. So that's the conversation we have with voters who are skeptical about the process, that it's perfectly fine for people to just vote for one that works in the system. But you know, it's a personal choice that to step outside of your comfort zone and vote for another candidate that you might not have thought that you would agree with. And now you have the option to, you know, consider other candidates' perspectives and policies that you might actually agree with once you think about it. So it's not a negative. We want people to rank as much as they feel comfortable doing so. But you know, it's a process, and I think over the election cycles, people will get more attuned to what their vote is actually doing. Any other questions?
Great, thank you. Commissioners, any other questions?
I have one just on tabulation. I feel like the thing that I've been hearing from people the most in terms of their confusion around RCV is how while I love your metaphor, I'm going to use the mayor's race because I get confused about the math. Um, uh, the obviously we have got like two candidates that are seen to be front runners and a variety of other candidates who are um, also in the field. And I know some people who are thinking they want to rank like three people and then the one of those two front runners under the assumption that their vote will eventually count for that candidate. But just so I'm clear on how the tabulation works, if one candidate gets 50% prior to their candidate getting last place, their vote won't count for that candidate up at the top of the leaderboard, right?
Correct. The race ends when someone reaches 50%. So until if that happens in the first round, then it's just like any other election. Whoever you voted for in your first choice is who you voted for. If you get to 50% in round two or three, and your vote didn't get to move to one of the top two candidates, then yes, your vote basically stays with your first candidate until that candidate is eliminated, and it keeps
Got
going
it.
like that. So if you had like three people and then Janice, for instance, as your fourth choice, and there was only 3 rounds, you might have ended your ballot might have gotten exhausted before your vote got to Janice. So
Thank you. That's a helpful layer to communicate to people.
absolutely, yeah. And it's something to consider on like we encourage people to rank truly based on your own preference, because you're hoping to,
Yeah,
elect
that's the whole
a
point of
can.
RCV.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. There is the strategy question that we get at times, which is, what ordering should I consider if, if I want to have a strategic vote? And yes, the answer is you're gonna want to put the candidates that you really do like the best, but are less likely to win in the first rankings, and then have the person that you like the least, who is the most likely to win, that you still do want to support at the end. Um, but then the question is, there are some times where the person who is more likely to win is someone that you like more than another candidate. So you can rank them in whatever order you really do feel connected to it. That is how ranked choice voting works the best.
Thank you. Other commissioners, any questions, comments? Um, Also, constituents, you can type your question in the Q&A box or use the raise hand option to ask questions. Okay, not seeing any. Thank you again for joining us. This was really helpful
Great.
and really important learning how to vote under ranked choice voting. I think for me personally, I'm not going to think about the strategy and just going to rank my preferences in the order that I'm comfortable with. And I like the concept of like, don't rank anyone who you don't want to win and you don't want to vote for. It seems like simple strategy. This is really helpful. See the QR code. We can also include the slides in our newsletter, a link to the slides in our newsletter that we send out. And Yeah, thanks again for joining us. This was really helpful, and thanks again for your time.
Thank you guys. Really appreciate the opportunity to speak. And I'll just put a little plug that we are looking for volunteers to help us staff the polls. If you know how to rank, honestly, you know how to explain it to pretty much anyone. That's the majority of the help that we need just as people walk in, making sure they know that they're about to vote differently. So you can check out, there are links to sign up to help us out on during early voting and on election day.
Great. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Have a good night, and thanks again for joining us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Um, we are ahead of time, but let's see. Mount Vernon Triangle Sid is ready for their presentation. we're 15 minutes ahead of our schedule. Happy to shift other segments around, or you could go ahead and present now if you're comfortable with that.
Oh, we're good to go. Yep.
Great.
You
Yeah.
just get me tonight, by the way.
Uh, Not only you, thank you for joining us. This is great. Are you comfortable sharing your slides? Sharing
Yep,
your screen?
that's no
Okay.
problem.
Well,
I
we
get
are ready for your presentation whenever you're ready.
All righty. Just pulling this up. Um, And can you all see the presentation?
We can see your screen. Yes, we can see the presentation now, but
Okay.
is there a way to make the slides maybe slightly bigger?
How'd that go?
Yeah, that's great.
Perfect. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you all so much for allowing us the time to present to you today. Some of you might be familiar with this project because it is actually the project that we presented last year as well. Um, After we received some feedback from the CAH committee, they actually encouraged us to reapply with the same grant proposal for this year. So we got a lot of really positive feedback from them last year. The feedback we received was actually if they had enough funding to fund two projects, this would have been one of the ones that they awarded. So it was just a little bit unfortunate that we just missed out on the funding last year, but that gave us some encouragement to try again this year. So my commissioners who sat through this presentation last year, I'm sorry it's going to be a little bit repetitive to you, but I know we have some new folks on the line today, so I'm excited to present this to you guys as well, and hopefully you all find it interesting. So first and foremost, my name is Grace. I am the marketing and events manager here at the Mount Vernon Triangle Community Improvement District. And we are in the process of applying for the Commission on Arts and Humanities Public Art Building Communities, or PABC grant. So this is an annual grant that's put out. The way that this grant is actually organized, they have three different tiers. So you're able to apply either as an individual, specifically if you're an artist applying for something on your own, as an organization, or as a bid. So we are actually able to apply for this grant as the Mount Vernon Triangle Community Improvement District or Business Improvement District. And we are just going up against the 13 other bids here in Washington, D.C. in our specific category. So our project is called Bridge Through My Window. And our team that is going to be working on this project this year, it is us here at the Mount Vernon Triangle Community Improvement District, which is formerly myself, Kenyatta Robinson, who's our president and CEO, and then Caitlin DeMombrium, who's on our team and handles a lot of our logistics. And then the artist we are working with, we are really excited to be working with Kelly Tolles. He's a pretty well-known artist here in the Washington, D.C. community. I'll take you through a little bit more of his work on future slides, so just hold off on that. And then the other key person on our team is David Levy, and he is our public space consultant. So he works with us on a lot of different projects around the neighborhood, but he'll be assisting with us on any sort of permitting we need to do, and kind of doing that coordination piece with the city as well. But a little bit more on Kelly. So as I mentioned, he is a DC-based artist. You all might know him or have heard of him through his work with the DC Walls Mural Festival. So he is primarily a muralist working in paint. But we're really excited because over the last few years, he's actually started to foray into different art styles, including tiles. So the work we're going to be doing with Kelly will be in his tile work, which is sort of new and exciting and different for him and for us. So we're kind of going away from just a painted mural and into a different medium, which we're really looking forward to. I should also mention, so Kelly is like I said, a very well-regarded artist here in the Washington, D.C. arts community. He has received other PABC grants in the past, and works very closely with the Commission on Arts and Humanities. So he's pretty well known within the art scene, and is very well respected. So we're really grateful that he has agreed to kind of come onto this project with us, and he's been super helpful in guiding us through it. So where's this going to be? The plan is to put an art mural on the 200 block of K Street Northwest overpass. So if for anyone walking into Mount Vernon Triangle from the Noma area or vice versa, you more than likely not have walked over this bridge, and you more than likely not have not really thought too much about it because as it is now, it is just a bridge going over the highway. So we are intending to put a little bit of art on this to make it feel a little bit more like a community piece, a little bit more welcoming as you walk into the neighborhood or as you leave us for Noma. And specifically, we will be putting the mural on the wall. So it's about a 2 foot high wall, and it will extend all the way down the overpass. And this is on the north side of K Street. So a little bit more about the project. So as I mentioned, this is going to be a mural. We hope that it will manifest the connectivity, vibrancy, and welcoming nature of the Mount Vernon Triangle neighborhood. The title of our project is also a title of an Audre Lorde poem called "Bridge Through My Window." So that's kind of where the inspiration began. We actually do truly look out the window at this bridge. I'm actually sitting in my office right now and can see the where the future mural will be as we're talking right now. But kind of more deeply, we want this project to achieve a few things. So we wanted to reflect on the impacts of urban renewal policies that led to the construction of the K Street Bridge or 395 Bridge in the 70s, and kind of reflect on the impact of that and the legacy of that. And then we want to kind of celebrate the community that is here now. So we will do that through one more thing on that, the first point. So to do that, we will be incorporating elements of various like fauna and nature into the design to sort of play off of the idea that there were things here before this bridge. And then we will be tying in other community elements. So the main focal point of this project, which we're really excited about, will be the vignettes that we are creating. And so we are going to be going to the community and actually asking them to nominate what we're kind of referring to as our local heroes that will make up these very interesting vignettes, and you'll get to see them on the next slide, and they will become the focal point of this project. And then filling in those gaps along with the flora and fauna will also be what we hope will be elements that the community actually gets to design. So we are planning to work with Kelly and go to some of the local schools and work with the library here right down the street from us to actually do community design days where people can come and actually design their own tile that will be incorporated into the mural. So there's a lot of different ways that we're trying to touch with the community on this project, which is the thing that I think I'm most excited about is that we really, I think, have given ourselves a lot of opportunities to get community feedback on this project at various different points throughout it. And I think I really hope that this will be a reflection of the broader community here, both in Mount Vernon Triangle, but then in our surrounding area as well. So here is what we have gotten from Kelly as a design mock-up. I will just say this is a very rough sketch. So the scaling might not be exactly as it will be when we have it up on the wall, but this will hopefully help you start getting an idea of kind of the look and feel of what it will be. So as you can see, he's working in this blue and white tile scheme, so very reminiscent of the tiles you might see if you were in Portugal. So sort of that more style of that subway tile kind of feel to it. But you can see here kind of pretty prominently displayed are these local hero vignettes. So the idea is they'll have sort of like superhero masks on them, which I'm actually going to take us to the next slide so you can see them a little bit better. So this is actually an example of a tile that Kelly's already created. So this is kind of the idea, the look and feel of what will be on the bridge. And then interspersed with those will be the other community design tiles as well as those flora and fauna projects as well. So these are just some examples of Kelly's works that he's done thus far. So this will be the largest project that he's worked on in terms of tiling, which we're really excited that he's agreed to do this with us. And I think it's going to be a really unique project here in Washington, D.C. So just to give you a quick idea of the timeline, so obviously right now I am presenting to you all. Our application is due on July 27th, and then we will hear back around October 13th on who is awarded the grants this year. And then if we are awarded the grant, our project would be able to start as soon as possible, so October 14th, and it would run through October 15th, 2027. So we do have to complete this within the same fiscal year as we are awarded the grant. But then once the project itself is finished, we plan to have this up for posterity. So this should really hopefully last the test of time for people to enjoy for many years to come. And that is that. So I would love to hear any questions that you all have. And then, yep, and I'm gonna actually just take us back over to this page so we can kind of keep an eye on that as well.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. I've seen this before and still support this application. Commissioners, any questions or comments? And again, the ask here is that we just basically vote on a resolution expressing our support for this application that will go before the DC Commission on Arts and Humanities, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's for Public Art Building Communities grant, right? Yeah.
Yep, that's correct.
So just to clarify, it's not an ANC
I do
60
have
grant, it's a grant from DC government.
This is yes, this
Yeah.
is a DC
got
government
it.
grant.
So
Yeah.
because we recently voted on a couple
That's
of grants.
So,
Oh,
that's
go ahead.
awful.
Yeah.
Commissioner Rogers,
Yes.
this is my SMD right now. I kind of like the idea of the painting, but when it's gonna start?
Where will the tile start?
Yes.
So it's going to span that entire bridge. So the plan is to have it be that 234-foot long span of the entire bridge.
Okay. So that means I won't be able to hang my signature poster up there for this year.
Well, the fence will still be there. So if it's something that you want to hang, you can hang it on the fence. But no, we'll have our clean team on it. If anybody's coming over to do anything to the tiles, we're gonna have our clean team over there.
Put my signature up. ANC. Oh.
But yeah, the fence will still be accessible. So we will only be putting tile on that 2-foot wall that you're walking by, and the sidewalk itself will also still. We're not planning to do anything with the sidewalk for this project.
Okay then. Thank you, Kelly.
Is that question asking if there is any anticipation that there will be any conflicts between this project and the Department of Transportation plans to put in a traffic light there at 3rd and K Street Northwest?
So part of the application process is we do have to go to DDOT and a few other government agencies prior to the application and make them aware that we're planning to do this, and then they have the opportunity to come to us and say like, oh, don't do that. So as I mentioned, we're reapplying to this. So last year when we applied, there was no plans from them that they were going to be doing any sort of work to the bridge or near the bridge. We haven't actually gone to them yet this time around, yet, but we will. And so we kind of leave that up to DDOT to tell us if we need to adjust the plan in any way. Obviously, we're big fans of traffic lights here in this neighborhood and crosswalks and safety lights. So we would most definitely not do anything to try to impede that from happening. But that would just be a matter of us working with DDOT to make sure that both things can happen at the same time.
That makes sense. Commissioners, any questions?
I do have a question.
Oh,
First of all, I think this is a great idea for a project. K Street is like one of the best ways to get across the city, so I feel like it's only for the better to kind of dress it up as much as we can. I love the idea of making it like a nice entrance in between Mount Vernon and Noma. My question is just, I feel like I've seen a number of these kinds of projects around town, and you kind of alluded to this a little bit, but this grant, if the work needs to be completed by October 2027, what then, what happens to this in terms of maintenance, like after that period? I I feel like I've seen some murals, a tile breaks, things start to break down after a period of time. Hopefully that doesn't happen for a long time, but like, has there been any thought put into sort of a long-term, like,
Yeah, no, definitely. That's a great question. And yeah, I know we also, we were considering, I don't know if you had this thought in your mind, but I know there's the mural over on H Street.
that's the one
Um,
I was thinking of.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So that definitely, as we were discussing this project, making sure, or kind of thinking through that as well. I will say that that mural is like over 20 years old. So take it with a grain of
Totally,
salt,
totally.
how that one's doing. But so I think in the short, long term, I was just joking with Kevin, but it's true. We do have our clean team here that are very committed to making sure, if there's graffiti or anything like that, we have a team in-house here that would be able to take care of that. And then Kelly, actually, his studio is right on O Street, so he is very close. So I do think that it would be something that, as the years go on, if we do need to figure out how to get some replacement tiles from him or work on a strategy to make sure that those are in place, I think we're definitely committed to making sure that this, yes, lasts the test of time and can be enjoyed for many years to come.
Awesome. My other question is just, um, are there any other examples that I can find like out in the world or in DC of his tile work,
Yep, that's a really good question as well.
or is
So,
this like really new?
yeah, so he has shown the ones up on my screen right now, I hope you can still see them. So these are some of his work. So he's mostly done these sort of smaller examples so far. So he hasn't done a mural. This will be the first time he's doing a mural size tile. So we're kind of we're the first for that, but he has been experimenting with kind of going bigger and bigger. I'm sorry, I should have probably put his Instagram on here. But if you go to his Instagram or just his website and he's just Kelly Tolles, you'll probably be able to see a few more examples of some of his larger tile work.
any other questions? Constituents, do you have any questions? Okay. Thank you so much for the presentation. I think what we will do now is just move to discussion, vote on a resolution, and hopefully it will pass us and I will send it to you. And pretty much what we had before were just like the updated dates and
Yep.
timeline. And thank you again for leading this work. I think this is a great project and I appreciate the effort.
Well, thank you guys again so much for letting us talk today. And I think second time's the charm. This is going to be our year. So
Yep. crossing my fingers for you for sure.
Thank you, Ahmad.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Okay. Commissioners, moving to discussion. Do you have any comments? Don't have any issues with this project. I supported it before. Think it's a good idea. It's a good proposal. And again, they're seeking a grant from the DC Commission on Arts and Humanities. And this just shows our support for the application and recommending that the grant gets issued for the project. Um, any comments before we vote on a resolution?
Yeah, this is different than us using our own money, so I'm good.
I just had a quick question, since
Yeah.
I'm new here. I assume we have not done any resolutions for any other projects for the same grant. So this would be like the only one that we're supporting.
Yeah, I don't remember that we did um any resolutions this year for the similar um grant application. I also don't know. I believe it's a pool of funds, so I don't think it's one proposal per grant. So I believe they would have a pool of funding and they can fund multiple applications or proposals.
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah. Let me see. Um, Quick question, Grace, if you're still with us, can you confirm what I said? If
Yeah.
my
So
yeah,
yeah, that's correct. So
okay.
there's three different tiers. So the only, in all honesty, the only people we would be competing with, quote unquote, specifically for in the context of this ANC is if the NOMA bid was to come to you all with a grant proposal, like our grant proposal will be going up directly against the NOMA grant proposal. So we're competing against the other bids. Um, but I personally don't see a reason why you can't support both because we'll just be, it's up to the commission to decide which one ultimately they're going to give the funding to.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And we have not received any requests from the NOMA bid for a similar grant, right? I don't remember that we got a similar grant. But I also agree. I don't see a reason for supporting both and letting the commission, the Arts Commission, decide. Okay, thank you for answering the question.
Yep.
Um, any other comments or questions?
Yeah, I would just say, like I mentioned, I think K Street's an important sort of thoroughfare, especially for pedestrians and bikers. It's one of the better ways to get across town. So like anything we can do to make that a more inviting stretch, I'm fine.
Okay, great. So I move to vote on a resolution that expresses ANC 6E support for the Mount Vernon Triangle Sit application for the DC Commission on Arts and Humanities Public Art Building Communities Grant. Anyone who would like to second?
I second.
Yeah. So Commissioner Abukaloff moved, Commissioner Rogers seconded to vote on a resolution that expresses ANC 6E support for the Mount Vernon SID application for the DC Commission on Arts and Humanities Public Arts Building Communities Grant. I'll be calling on you to vote. 6E03, Commissioner Rogers.
Aye.
6E04.
Aye.
6E05, I. 6E06.
Aye.
6E08.
Aye.
And then 6E09.
Aye.
Great. So the resolution passes with 6 ayes, 0 nays, and no abstains, and we will be following up with the SID, send you the final signed version of it. Moving to the next item, there's an internal request for, let me pull it up, for asking DDOT to implement pedestrian and biker safety interventions. Let me see if I can pull up the map. Okay. Share my screen. So, in my single member district, there is, let me zoom in. There's this pedestrian crossing. Maybe if I do oh, okay. Sorry, trying. There's this pedestrian crossing. It's Patterson and First. There's a bike lane, and the issue is that most cars don't stop for pedestrians. Although there's a sign that says yield for pedestrians. So what I'm recommending is that DDOT considered the crosswalk flashing light. So if there's a pedestrian that presses the button, I'm not sure if it directly happened or like multiple pedestrians should press it. It flashes and then signals for cars to stop and then let pedestrians cross. So that is my recommendation. And then there's a recommendation by Commissioner Fiedler for Patterson and First. Um, so Commissioner, is it Patterson? No, it's Pierce, right? Pierce and
It's
First.
Pierce. Yeah, Pierce.
Yeah. So it's further down. Yeah, sorry. Um, Let me pull it up.
You're doing great.
I know it's like I'm not using, yeah, it's this intersection which has no pedestrian crossing at all, and it leaves a stretch of First right here, like between L and M with no horizontal crosswalks. And I also commute through this segment and see that it incentivizes jaywalking because there's no crosswalks in the middle of this stretch. Commissioner Fiedler, do you want to talk a little bit about it, like why you're suggesting adding a crosswalk?
Yeah, for sure. That location right there, if you can see on the right side there, there's Wonder Garden right there. And then on the left are a series of very large apartment buildings. So I feel like I've witnessed a lot of really unsafe pedestrian behavior crossing in between L and M. As a result of people being at Wonder Garden late at night or just in general. The other thing to know is that when you're driving on Pierce Street towards First Street, left turns there are illegal, but they happen all the time. So I see pedestrians crossing the street from the left side to the right side across First Street in an area where illegal left turns happen all the time. So there's just like that intersection just seems dangerous to me. And I'm not passionate about getting a crosswalk there. So I appreciate a resolution to that effect.
Great. Is there, I'm assuming there's a sign that says left turns are illegal, but that there's no like proper enforcement, right? That
Yeah, there's no
causes,
enforcement. No, it's just a
yeah,
sign. It's just a sign opposite the road with like a no left
got
turn
it.
sign.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so this is, let me pull up the resolution that we have. Okay. See, so the resolution is here. Let me share my screen again. So the resolution just sets like what ANCs can vote on. It says that first in Patterson, okay, this is Pierce should so there's a recommendation or request for considering um a crossing signal with flashing lights and potentially considering raised crosswalk also. And then for the second one on First and Pierce, adding crossing signal um, for pedestrian safety. And then um, asking can I guess we can add that that we would ask for a request from GDOT within 30 days after submitting this resolution. So if we submit it tomorrow, we can say June 28th. Yeah, like we have done this in the past, and it's basically asking GDOT to study these requests and get back to us about why they would or would not do it. Um, and then I will pause to see if commissioners have any.
One question, just in terms of the verbiage of the resolution. Could we
Yeah.
maybe say like, instead of suggested improvements, suggested ideas or something? Because my thought is if we're gonna ask them to study it, wouldn't it make sense to have them study it and then say this is a suggested improvement?
Um,
Oh, just my thought.
yeah, I hear you, but I would be concerned that it weakens the request further because, at the end of the day, like I don't know, I'm open for other ideas, but I personally believe that would um like create more safe like improvement for pedestrians for sure. It's not
Mhm.
universal if it slows down car drivers, but I'm
Got it.
willing to accept that. But also open to other ideas. Commissioner Lareden. And then just sorry pausing to see um Commissioner Watts is in the chat. Just seeing it now. Let's see. Okay. Can I promote as a panelist or I'll just do allow to talk, noting that Commissioner Watts joined the meeting. Go ahead, Commissioner Lareden.
Thanks. And thank you, Julia, for putting this forward. This is an intersection that myself and many of the people that I talk to also have a lot of issues with. So super supportive of this. Just a couple things to add. And I think just in the resolution, making sure that it's consistent. This is supposed to be Pierce Street, right?
Right.
Okay.
One of them is Patterson and one of
Oh,
them is
oh,
Pierce. There
okay.
are two intersections, like one north by the Harris Theater.
Oh, right, the other side of it. Okay.
Yeah, and one is like in the southern side. I know they're both like
Gotcha.
confusing because it's the same letter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
they're like the half streets too.
Right. The one thing I was gonna add, and folks can correct me, but I also walk this part every day. And on the Pierce Street side, I do believe if there's gonna be a crosswalk, which again I am supportive of, I believe that bike lane is a protected bike lane with concrete barriers. So there would also need to be a bike lane intervention um, of some sort to, because otherwise you're walking straight through. The crosswalk would have to go through a two-way bike lane. Um, so just noting that. Um, yeah,
Um, let me
I think that's
see.
something that the study would have to figure out, but I do want to note that there is currently a concrete barrier there, I believe.
Right. There is. There's also a parking lot across the street from there
Yeah.
where they have a exit from the parking lot.
Hmm.
I don't know how crosswalks work. I guess that's why we asked them to study it, but um uh like in my imagination of it, I was like, oh, can they just scooch the crosswalk back to where that exit is for the parking lot? But maybe they can just move the
Right.
concrete barriers. You're 100% correct. There is concrete barriers there, and there is a two-way bike lane. Yes.
Yeah, so um oh, go ahead, Commissioner Prince.
Thanks. Yeah, in fact, that's a point that I was thinking about as well, the presence of the protected bike lane. And I looked at a comparable situation, which is where Third Street runs into K Street. It's like a T, where Third Street does not continue past K Street North, and there are bike lanes on both sides, and the crosswalks. What is different, of course, it doesn't have the completely isolated bike lane as First Street does, but the crosswalk does, is sort of painted all the way across. And then I was reminded that we recently considered a DDOT plan to put in a second crosswalk across K Street for the other pedestrians on the other side of Third Street. And it occurred to me that maybe we should ask for that because I'm not sure if that's already in the request. I can't remember, but it might be useful to have two crosswalks there. I'm not sure whether the request was going to be for just one. I think there might be apartment buildings on both sides, but in any case, with taking into account the chances that this area along First Street is going to be sort of beautified and improved, as we discussed recently at another meeting, that might contribute to even more pedestrian crossing at that point.
Yeah, that is such a good point that
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah. Um yeah, I think I'm comfortable saying that, DDOT would figure that out. Um I personally think that the interactions between pedestrians and cyclists or like bikers are less concerning to me than like the cars that get in and out of the parking lot. But oh yeah, go ahead, John.
I was just going to respond directly to that. In general, I agree. The only thing I will note on that bike lane is that it's not an intersection from that side. So it's
Right.
effectively a straightaway for the cyclists, which is
Yeah,
why I feel like it's really, I bike that and I walk it. And I feel like when people jaywalk there,
you're not
cyclists have
expecting
no
it.
reason to stop.
Right. You're not expecting it. So yeah,
It would
especially on a
definitely be a
like
change for sure.
Yeah.
no, that makes sense. John, did you have a comment or a question?
Had a suggestion. It
Yeah.
may be kind of old school, but one of the things that may circumvent a whole study is to suggest a walk with DDOT and the various, like the bike people, the traffic safety people, anybody who's relevant, as well as the SID with David
Mhm.
Levy and the NOMA bid, whoever's relevant there, just to be able to kind of knock this out and work through some of these concerns that you know are going to be obstacles. It's just a suggestion.
Yeah. No, this is a great suggestion. Especially that they're trying to pedestrianize that sidewalk and add like seatings and beautify that area. So it makes sense to have Noma Bid and DDOT do a walk. Yeah, I think let's see. Commissioner Fiedler, how do you feel about that? Would you want, I mean, I still feel okay with saying study this and let us know, but if you also prefer having a walk first and then revisiting this next month.
I
So
love the idea of suggesting a walk. I'm more than happy to participate in that. And anything we can do to shortcut the system. I'm like, if we don't need to suggest the idea of a study, that would be great. Maybe let them tell us they need to do a study, in the interest of expediency. But I would be happy to be involved in that, if that's what our expert in the room says is going to be the most effective thing to do.
yeah, since you suggested, uh, I mean, I still would love them to add um, a, a flashing light for that intersection, but I can also would be happy to do that walk and maybe we can discuss some ideas. I
Yeah.
also see a comment from Scott that we should, if we have flashing lights for crossings, we should coordinate with Pepco because it would be um, unconnected to power for months before that gets resolved, even after it's installed, which is a bummer. So thank you for flagging that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think if everyone is comfortable, we can definitely try to schedule that um, walk with DDOT and NomaBid and then come back with something more solid, maybe. Oh yeah, Commissioner Larita.
Um, Thanks. I love that idea. And I hope I'm not getting too over my skis, but I also have an intersection that's like a block and a half away that's the bane of my existence. That is part of the reason that I ran for this. Um,
Right.
so I don't know if it would be appropriate. Like, I'm happy to write something up and describe that or whatever is appropriate, but to do it, I don't know if it makes sense to do it at the same time, but the
Oh yeah,
intersection um that
absolutely. Yeah,
that I'm referring to is on M Street and Second, the MBT bridge right next to the REI that a lot of people have a lot of trouble with.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, that absolutely makes sense. And they're all within a walking distance, so it definitely makes sense to
Okay.
coordinate between the three of us with
Well,
DDOT and MPD, and then um, we can do this. And then I know it's seeing the comment by Commissioner Fila, we're all here because of one intersection in our SMD, right? It's
no,
either an intersection or a housing a building with issues or a housing project that you want to support or something else or a park. Okay, great. So we can table this for now, but we'll follow up with DDOT and Nomavid, schedule a walk to discuss options, and then can have something more tweaked and more solid next time, and we can just vote on recommendation based on that conversation. Great. This was very helpful discussion. Moving. Any last thoughts about this, or everyone is comfortable with scheduling that one? Okay, great. Um, Next item is the vote on the financial report. Let me pull it up. Okay, Commissioner Burns, our treasurer. I will pull it up for you. Yeah, trying to share my screen. Not sure why I'm not able to share. Yes, could be up now. Ready for you, Commissioner Prince, if you want to
Sure.
present quickly on it.
So in the second quarter, we had one infusion of money, $750, which was, I believe, the remainder of a quarterly allotment from previous time, because our previous one was short $750. So this brought us up to our quarterly allotment of 5,611 and 29 cents per quarter, which is what it was at that time. It's now 3 cents more per quarter. And we had only two types of expenditures. We had three expenditures of $250, which is our note-taking minutes preparation, and then we reimbursed a person for some of our communications costs. I think that was possibly a web page or something. And so that's how we ended the quarter with $129,355.82 at the end of the second quarter, with only four outgoing transactions and one incoming receipt of funds from DC government, $750.
Great, and because the fiscal year is different, this would be
This is
October,
January,
February,
February, March 2026.
March. So the grants would be reflected in the next report
Yes,
because
the
they happen in
grants,
April.
that's right. The
Yeah,
grants and the
yeah,
allotment for, I think it's going to be the allotment for quarter, well, I think we've already received quarter three, and then uh, the category seven services, we will have those at our usual $250 a month, and then the two grants to Mount Vernon Community Improvement District will come through, uh, assuming they cash the checks. I think they may have already, but
yeah.
that's for quarter three.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Commissioners, any questions before we vote on the report? So I believe that the 38 and 18 cents is for Commissioner Hans for reimbursement for website hosting, and then we just have three payments for Karen, who's the note taker, or
That
for
is correct.
drafting the meeting minutes, and it's 250 per meeting. So that those are the 788.2 is the expenditure, and then the balance checking is the remaining amount that is an ANC 60 account. Okay. Not seeing any questions. Commissioner Prince, would you like to make a motion to vote on
Yes,
it?
a
Yeah.
move that we approve the second quarterly financial report.
Right. Anyone would like to second?
Second.
Okay. So Commissioner Prince moved and Commissioner Hahn seconded to vote on the resolution approving the Q2 fiscal year 2026 financial report. I will be calling on you to vote. ANC 6E02, Commissioner Watts. Um, okay. Can you hear?
Aye.
60, thank you.
You hear
6003.
me?
Yeah, I heard you. You voted aye. Thank you.
Okay.
6003, Commissioner Rogers. Commissioner Rogers, can you hear me?
I had to take myself off mute. Yeah,
Yeah. Wait, 6004.
Aye.
I vote aye. 6006.
Aye.
6008.
Aye.
6009.
Aye.
Great. The resolution passes with 7 ayes, 0 nays, and no abstains. Moving to the next item, the open forum. Any commissioner or constituent can raise any issue, could be a question, a comment, and we usually have 2 minutes per item. And then we have additional time for A and C follow-up or response. Start with commissioners. Any comments? Anything you would like to raise? Any questions?
Yeah, just the job position. Do we have any idea when we think we want to release it and um scoring, how we want to go about doing that? We're going to use that scorecard. Figures
So
you
the
want to talk about?
description itself, I believe, is finalized.
Okay.
I think for the evaluation, it could be finalized during the next executive meeting.
Okay.
And I think we, just for everyone's, to know that ANC 6E previously voted on, um, posting and hiring a consultant who would be an executive admin assistant. Um, and we're moving forward with the process by posting a job description. But since we have new commissioners, maybe I'll share it, for comments and thoughts again, and then we can finalize the uh, evaluation criteria, and then other than posting it on our website. Oh, go ahead, Commissioner Prince.
No, it's on a different topic.
Oh, got it, got it. Other than posting it on our website, if someone knows any local or any website for jobs, we can post them. Yeah, so we can move forward with that, but I also would maybe probably like to share that with new commissioners, and then we can move it forward. Quick update. We have been contacted by the Office of ANC. They're moving us to the next cohort of ANC commissions that would get access to the unified website. But I don't know what is the timeline. We have some questions. Um, we had some questions received. We answered them. I chatted briefly with Director Base, and it seems like we would work with them on um, transferring our content to a new website, which would be a blessing because I think our website is slowly collapsing. And then just a unified template. But I will keep everyone posted. Commissioner Prince.
Yeah, thanks. I just want to mention something concerning the community advisory team for 25 E Street, the bridge housing that emerged in the last meeting. We, of course, didn't have a formal report on that, but I did. It occurs to me that I should mention for awareness that our friend Nancy Rosen, who was representing the Plaza Apartments next door and was a member of the CAT, passed away recently. And I was very surprised by this. I had known Nancy for several months. She was often on the meetings here. with questions and expressing the views of the residents of the Plaza Apartments next door at 35 E Street. So that was kind of a shock, and I felt very bad about that because I had a great rapport with her, and she was a person who represented her community well, and had and was very eager to contribute to things concerning her block. Over.
I did not know that. May she rest in peace. Definitely a loss for the community. Yeah, I'm really sad to hear that. Um, yeah,
They told us the current the other representative of the community on the CAT said they'll have some kind of memorial event, and they will let us know when that takes place. If I'm able, I will certainly attend.
thank you. Would we need to follow up on replacement of another, like having another community member represent or
No, they've already put forward a name which escapes me at the moment, and we accepted that name. So the apartments, maybe
yeah,
it's Capitol Plaza, maybe getting the name of the condo wrong. They continue to be represented by two residents
okay.
on the CAT.
It's good to know. Thank you for the update. Other commissioners, any comments, any items you would like to flag, any questions? Also, constituents, you can type in the Q&A box or use the raise hand option to make any comments, ask any questions.
Just kind of a comment for the group, I suppose, that I've been trying to figure out what's going on with some vacant lots in my SMD. And I haven't been like trying super, super hard, but I have found it kind of hard to figure out what's going on with a couple lots that have been vacant for a really long time. So if anybody knows how to shortcut that and just figure out like what the plans are for a lot or anything like that, I would be happy to discuss it.
Yeah, I usually find so if they're within the NOMA bid, um they usually can answer. They do have maps that shows like the proposed or planned development, but sometimes like that changes with the timeline. Go ahead, Commissioner Prince, and I see Trey also.
Good. I'm glad to see Trey.
Yeah, we have
Yeah,
multiple answers for
I
this question.
I
Go ahead.
was probably gonna go into
I figured this was the right group.
yeah. No, I was going to speculate about which part of government might handle that, but actually, what I believe there is an ANC caucus on vacant properties, and I think the Office of ANCs could steer you to that, which might be useful if it did actually get going. I remember someone emailing about it in the past, uh, to get members and so forth. So that might be worth asking about to learn how to address the issue. Over.
Yeah,
Go
that
ahead,
sounds
Trey.
great. Thank you.
That we can approach this from multiple different pathways. I'm actually dealing with a lot of vacant building issues within Ward 6. I've been working closely with our DOB liaison, Jason Williamson, and he's been engaging DOB's vacant properties team to do case-by-case assessments of each property, assessing what mitigation efforts are within play for that specific building. So please feel free to either email me or call me, and we can connect to discuss what we can do in this specific case.
Okay,
And
awesome. Thank you.
I do believe that like in Noma there are vacant lots, so they're not buildings, but just like the site itself, the lot is left vacant. I think
Yeah,
probably with
I'm
like
thinking of
future
two.
development plans. Sorry, go ahead. Were you
Yeah, I
referring
can
to
think of
vacant
two
building
lots
or?
that, sorry,
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sure my train Wi-Fi is causing a delay, but there's two spots that I can think of that are vacant lots that have just been standing empty for a long time, but there's a variety of vacant buildings as well. So um, I will follow up with you, Trey, via email.
Yeah, I think in the theme of vacancy also, um, vacant retail, like ground floor retail also continues to be I don't know if I would call it like an issue, but I would, like to see those retail spaces activated. Some of them have never been leased or like have been vacant for years now. So we can also chat about this offline. Great. Any other comments, questions, anything you would like to raise? Last call for that before we wrap up. Great. Guess this is a record for one of the shortest meeting. It's not even 8:45 p.m. So our next meeting will be on the last Wednesday of the month, so it would be June 24th. Thank you everyone for joining us. I will move to vote on a or make a resolution to adjourn the May 27, 2026 meeting. Anyone who would like to second?
Second.
Great. So Commissioner Abubakar made a motion, Commissioner Rogers seconded to adjourn the ANC 6E May 27, 2026 meeting, and right now it's 8:32 p.m. I'll be calling on you to vote. Commissioner Watts, Commissioner Rogers,
Aye.
uh, both said aye. 6004.
Hi.
This is 6-2I. Sorry.
No, I heard you. Thank you. I 6006,
Aye.
6008,
Aye.
and then 6009.
Aye.
Great. And with that, we adjourn the ANC 6E May meeting, and it's 8:33 p.m. for meeting minutes. Thank you again for joining us, and have a good night. And the next meeting will be on June 24th. Thank you, everyone.
All right, good night.
Thanks.